Welcome back, everyone, to the High Tempo Sports Podcast, episode 128. It is a great Friday today here in Central Michigan. How you doing today?
Good. Do you think maybe one day it'll be time for a new intro song?
Probably.
Like to mix it up. Like, I think it'd be cool.
We've had this one for quite some time.
Yeah, and we switched it up after probably episode
we would do
60.
different songs like all the time. I feel like we've been on this one for a minute. I really do like this one.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but maybe I guess we could maybe next episode we can look to see if we can find anything else.
Just something maybe
we gotta
crazy.
make a new jingle for once Weekly Picks is gone too. Like to in court. Like, could we make our own intro song?
Oh, dude,
is that like a possibility?
With our voice?
We might as well.
And our vocals?
I don't see why we haven't, actually, now that I think about it.
It's the High Tempo Podcast.
We'll think of something. But today, like I said, is Friday. Our last episode was our second episode of Season 2 of Jeopardy. Go check that out if you have not. We had Ivan on. Easton was a contestant. And obviously, Jack was our returning champion. So if you haven't watched that, go watch it right now. I assume if you didn't watch it, you clicked it right now. So Jack won. I'm spoiling it. Yeah, Jack won again. So I don't know who we're going to have as on next episode. I guess
we discussed maybe bringing him back for a third, or is he just automatically?
I think we'll bring him back for one more episode. But if he wins again, I mean, he's off no matter what after this one, I guess. Yeah. Because obviously if he loses, he's off. But
if he wins, it's like you're 3 in a row. Yeah. Like you're one of the
You're back
goats.
on host, so I guess kind of you can choose who you want to be on, I guess, because who you think would be best fit
probably
with each
Willie.
of us. But
dude,
probably,
you
honestly,
3 with Willie, or you 2 with Willie would be awesome.
Because we still do got to get Parker on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Barry Hill's got to get on. But Parker against Jack, I don't know. No offense, Parker, but
Jack is
too good at trivia. We're going to have to wait till he's off before Parker can get on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, maybe Willie is probably the best option.
Yeah, Willie's just nuts at trivia. He knows a lot.
That would be a good matchup. Yeah, I'm excited to do that.
It'd be fun with you 3.
Yeah, but let's get into today's episode. We got a good amount of stuff to talk about. We got some NFL stuff to go over, NBA trade things, and some college basketball. Let's start it off with college basketball. Last night, number 4 Purdue gets upset by the Indiana Hoosiers at home. Came down to the wire. Indiana hits a 3 late in the game to win it, and they get the huge upset over Purdue.
Yeah, Jaden Ivey was playing on one leg to end the game.
Yeah,
he was hobbling
around. He was limping
everywhere.
around, yeah.
And somehow they still call him to take the last shot.
Yeah, I know. Took a really tough shot.
Really tough on one leg.
Yeah.
Just kind of weird. Odd last call.
And,
play call.
I was kind of confused why Zach Edey wasn't on the court late in the game, because when he was playing, he was doing pretty well.
Yeah.
He was scoring the ball pretty well. So I wonder why he wasn't on the floor. I know he's probably not the best defensive liability, but it's college basketball.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a good rebounder. He will protect the paint.
He
he's
might
not going to get
an
exposed
offensive
too
rebound
hard. Yeah,
off a missed shot and put it back. I mean, that's huge. I mean, that's
get
the
a
difference
switch
in the game.
onto him to get the last bucket. It really didn't make any sense that he wasn't on the court. But Purdue takes a tough loss, so opening the door for another team to jump into the top 5, as they are definitely going to fall out of the top 5.
They're in shambles right now, losing tons of games.
They beat Illinois, though, earlier this week, which was a huge dub for them. So moving on to the big-time Big Ten game tonight, number 14 Michigan State is headed to Madison to take on the 8th-ranked Wisconsin Badgers at 9 o'clock. This is probably, other than Purdue, Illinois, this is probably the biggest game so far of the Big Ten this year, because Wisconsin has just been on a tear lately. Michigan State is coming off our worst loss of the year against Northwestern last week. So this is a defining game for Michigan State to see if we can beat a really good team.
It's your only conference loss, right?
Yeah, Northwestern was our first conference loss. And so right now, Wisconsin and Illinois both are ahead of us. We were first alone in the Big Ten, but now Wisconsin and Illinois are both ahead. So this is, if Michigan State wins tonight, actually I think we would be first because Purdue beat Illinois last week. So we would go back to first in the Big Ten. So this is the winner of this game is in first in the Big Ten right now. Huge game. Wisconsin obviously has National Player of the Year candidate Johnny Davis on their team. And I don't know if we're going to be able to stop them tonight. So we'll see.
I'm pumped to see Max Christie and Johnny Davis in the same game. I haven't really gotten to watch much of Johnny Davis this year other than his highlights where he is just unreal and dropping 30 on Jaden Ivey,
Very
dropping
good score.
30 on everybody in the conference. I think he had like 26 against Illinois or something.
Yeah.
Just he goes stupid.
He's a top 5 scorer in Division I right now. I think he's averaging like 22.5 points per game, making a jump from like 7 last year. But it was huge because Wisconsin had so many guys leave their team last year, and he was a freshman, so he's got a huge increased role. Kind of like Keegan Murray with Iowa too, because he was a freshman last year, didn't get a lot of run, and now this year he's averaging even more than Johnny Davis. I think he's averaging like 23.5 a game. But taking a look at Michigan State's end of January, obviously tonight we take on Wisconsin, big-time game. But then on Tuesday, we have to go to Illinois and take them on. And then the following Saturday, we take on Michigan at home. So 3 pretty tough games. I mean, I know Michigan obviously hasn't been the best, but Michigan State will always be a tough game.
It's a tough game no matter what. I don't expect
no matter
Michigan
the
to
records
win,
of the
but
teams.
It's going to be high intensity. I hope it's a wake-up call. It kind of looks like Michigan might have woken up a little bit, lost a little bit of their ego, and started playing hard again.
They got a big blowout win the other night against Maryland, which hopefully that can spark something for them. But yeah, talking about Michigan's end to January, they take on Indiana this upcoming Sunday in Indiana. So Indiana's they're 14-4 right now. They have 3 conference losses, so they're probably going to be ranked. Obviously not by the time this game goes on, but this is going to be a huge game for Michigan because at Indiana they're coming off of a huge dub. If Mike Woodson wears his suit, then Michigan's screwed. I told you that last night how they haven't lost when he's worn a suit. Not only that, but they haven't won when he doesn't wear a suit. Yeah,
like
every
he's
game they've
forced to wear a
lost.
suit
Yeah,
the
like
rest of
every
the year.
game they've lost, he hasn't worn a suit. So yeah, it's like a huge he has to wear a suit
he's
every
gonna
game now
start
until they
spending
lose.
Tons of money on dry cleaning stuff. He used to be the coach of the Knicks, right?
Yeah,
I thought so.
So he definitely can afford
Yeah.
some suits. Hopefully,
I thought Mike
he's
Woodson
one of the
was.
most higher paid college basketball coaches. I'm pretty sure just because he is a NBA guy coming to Indiana.
Yeah, big time basketball school, and that was a crazy win again.
Yeah.
That student section was just nuts.
That whole stadium was just going absolutely.
We got to go
ballistic.
there.
We were talking. Yeah, that's a stadium that Michigan versus Indiana this Sunday.
Let's
We'll be
there.
there.
We're taking a trip down.
We'll be there if you want to meet up with us.
Get some pictures.
And then Michigan's got Northwestern next Wednesday at home. Northwestern, their record doesn't show they're very good, but they beat Michigan State in Michigan State last week, so they're a tough team. And then obviously after that, the following next Saturday, is Michigan versus Michigan State.
Did I ever pay you for those Illinois tickets?
I think so.
I think I did too.
Yeah.
But just making sure.
Yeah,
in
so
my
we
head.
get to see Michigan State take on Illinois the first time, like not obviously in person, but we get to watch that next week, and then we are going to be at the second
one,
game,
man.
which could be huge because it's later in the year, and it's a day game too, so there's a chance that could be like a college game day type game. That's going to be sweet.
We
I'm
do
so
got to pick a
excited.
Michigan game to go to.
Yeah, we definitely do.
We got to find one. I wouldn't mind going to an away gym, like taking an actual trip down.
Yeah.
Like I think it'd be crazy. Like we
Me
got
and
to
Barry
start
Hill were
exploring
talking about
that.
like spring break. Let's just go to a game during spring break. Go to like we got to look.
I'll be
What
in
is it?
Alabama.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You're going to Alabama?
Yeah, with like Jack's
really?
like grandparents have a really
Because we were
nice place
thinking
down
maybe
there.
the Big Ten tournament is that week, and if it is,
Yeah, that would be
I
wild.
would definitely go.
Yeah,
'cause
I'm not saying don't go without me, but like I
will.
would be sad. I'm just saying I would
Shouldn't be in
want to
Alabama.
be with you.
But yeah, let's move on. Or I guess another big game tomorrow. Number 12 ranked Kentucky. They've been really hot lately. They are headed to Alabama to take on number 2 Auburn and projected number 1 overall pick Jabari Smith Jr. So that game is going to be super intense too.
That game should be nuts. I'm pumped to watch Auburn play. Because, again, I haven't gotten to watch a lot of them this year. Just a ton of highlights.
And they're
but
really exciting. And their fans are crazy.
crazy. And their bench is crazy.
Yeah.
Their bench goes
They have one of the
ballistic.
best home atmospheres this season for sure. And they're playing against Kentucky, who's been really hot lately too. So that game is definitely going to be huge. Speaking of Kentucky, there was just news yesterday or the day before that former number 1 overall player in the class of 2022, Shaden Sharp, is eligible for this upcoming 2022 NBA draft. He has kind of a weird story because Amani Bates used to be the number 1 player in 2022, and then he reclassified to 2021, and Shaden Sharp became that guy. And he is on Kentucky's team right now. He enrolled at Kentucky, I think this semester, but he hasn't played, he hasn't appeared in a game yet. So I wonder like a lot of people are still speculating that he's not gonna go to the draft, even though he's eligible to, because I think he must turn 19 or something by the end of the year. But really interesting that he's gonna be able to be drafted, because I just have watched a few videos about it, and people are saying if he does enter this year's draft, it completely shakes up the draft boards. Like, he is gonna go top 3 probably. So it's gonna be really interesting to see maybe if this puts pressure on Calipari to maybe start playing him. But it's gonna be awesome to see him play at Kentucky eventually when he does, because this team is already really good.
Yeah, and it's really weird to see, like, this whole time we've been looking for, like, a way that Amani Bates can just go to the league this year. And here's this guy who, like, was the number 2 player the entire time and is going to go to the league.
Hasn't even played in
Going to be a top
this
3.
year.
Like, Amani's having a disappointed season. Here's the number 2 player not playing, probably going to be a top 3 pick if he goes. That's wild.
I
how
know.
different. Just in 7 months. Just
How
a 7
things
month
change,
span.
yeah.
I mean, being a high-level basketball player has got to be the most stressful thing ever.
Because it's so much about there's so much pressure on you at
Yeah.
all times to climb the rankings and to be one of those top ranked guys.
If you don't stay on your game for that week, you drop. If you if you miss 2 practices in a row, that's 2 more practices the guy to the left of you has on you. It's crazy.
And Kentucky's a different team this year. They're a team that is filled with a lot of upperclassmen, a lot of juniors and seniors. Obviously, they have a few freshmen, like we were talking about earlier. Ty Washington has been probably their best freshman so far this year. But most of their other better players are all upperclassmen. So, like, I don't know if Calipari's gonna incorporate Shaedon Sharpe at all. But Shaedon Sharpe did say that he's going to play at Kentucky next year. But that was before this came out. So we'll see. I don't know if he was even planning on getting any minutes this year or not.
I don't know who Shaedon Sharpe is.
He's really good.
Like, is he a big?
He's a wing. He's like a shooting guard, but a bigger. He's like a 6'6", 6'7" shooting guard. Really good scorer. Like a lot of comp to like Jalen Green.
Yep.
But maybe not as boomer athletic, but definitely like way more versatile. Like, he's big. He can play defense. Like,
I'm pumped. He should be a cool player then.
He's gonna be super good. So let's move on to some NFL talk. Last week, we did our weekly picks of the first round. I think you got them all right. I don't think we wrote them down or anything, but because I looked at mine, and I think the only one that we had different was the Cincy Raiders game, I think.
And I picked Cincy.
You picked Cincy, but we both picked Buffalo. They beat New England. We both picked Kansas City to beat the Steelers. Both took the Rams. Both took the Niners. And we both took Tampa. So I think you went undefeated.
Yeah. Unreal.
You got to start betting on it, man.
Oh, dude, I could have. I could have had a 7-game. Dude, I would have hit. Oh, that's
what I'm saying.
You can't do that to me. You're making my head too big. I'm gonna start betting tons of money on playoff football.
The playoffs are I feel like easier to pick just because,
especially
not
the
really,
first
though.
round. The first
round is. Yeah, these ones are gonna be tough because also the lines are gonna be so close too. So it's it's not really even worth betting on them. But let's talk about the games this week, and then we'll kind of discuss what's next for all the teams that lost in the first round. So first game tomorrow at 4:30, we have the 1-seeded Tennessee Titans taking on the 4-seeded Cincinnati Bengals. Derrick Henry, they said he is getting taken off IR officially today.
He's activated.
Yeah. Or that's what I meant.
Ready to start.
So Derrick Henry will be back for the Tennessee Titans. The Bengals getting their first playoff win in over 30 years. The Lions now have the worst streak of no playoff wins, so that's unfortunate. Shout out to the Bengals though for winning that game against the Raiders. For their fans, I'm so happy for their fans because we know exactly what they go through. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Even though it's in Ohio, but shout out them.
It's close enough to Kentucky that's whatever.
Did you see Joe Burrow took him one drive to have more postseason touchdowns than Andy Dalton?
Actually,
one drive.
I saw that Stafford too. Stafford winning last week in the playoffs made Andy Dalton have the most career passing yards without a playoff win, in NFL history. It was Stafford.
Yeah, well, he was probably leading by a mile.
Yeah. And now it's Andy Dalton.
Let's go. I hate that guy.
But Tennessee, Cincinnati, this is going to be a great matchup. Like we said, Cincy's got plenty of momentum right now. They've really ended the year super hot. They're a high-powered offense. Who do we got winning this game?
I'm definitely going with Tennessee in this game. Being the 1 seed without the best running back in the league would have broke I really do believe he would have broke the touchdown record and maybe even the yards record this season. He was that unreal in his first 8 games. You bring him back to the team that is 1 seed without him, I don't see him losing to the Bengals. Nothing against the Bengals. They were awesome this year, but I've got the Titans.
I think it's going to be so difficult for Cincinnati to try and game plan for this game as well, because how much are they going to use Derrick Henry? You know, like, as much as you want to say we're going to give him the ball 35 times.
You can't.
I mean, you could, but, like, is it kind of expected, I guess? The Titans have a few different weapons in the backfield now that kind of got exposure at the end of the year, and Donta Foreman, and who was the other guy they had? Hilliard.
Yeah.
And they obviously still have Jeremy McNichols, too, but those two guys were pretty good for them once Derrick Henry was out. So it's going to be interesting to see how much Henry gets utilized, maybe even as a decoy, because there's a lot of pressure to not let Derrick Henry beat you. So I'm going to go with the Titans as well, just because I think it's I couldn't imagine being Zach Taylor in Cincinnati right now, or whoever Cincinnati's defensive coordinator is. I would just be so stressed out. How do you game plan for a game like this with Henry's first game back?
They could give him the ball 4 times. Hey, we're only going to give you the ball if we're within 20 yards. We're not going to give you the ball, or if we're within 2 yards of a first down. It's the only time you're touching the football, dude. Okay, well, you don't know that as Cincinnati's coach.
Yeah.
Every time he's in the backfield, you expect him to get the ball.
You think, we are not letting Derrick Henry beat us.
Well,
everyone
not
else
use
just beat you. It's going to be tough, but Cincinnati easily could win this game. I mean, this is going to be a really tight game. I don't think Tennessee should be heavily favored or anything. I think this is going to be a really fun game. I'm excited to see what goes down in this one.
Just the return of the King in general will be awesome. Absolutely. So it'll be so cool to watch him come back out on the field. It's a home game for Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
They don't play at neutral field yet.
Yep. It's first. Yeah. Every game is like the only neutral field one is the Super Bowl. So
yeah. Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Oh, that'll be. Oh my god.
Yeah. So like the 1 seed. That's why getting the 1 seed is so
huge,
such an advantage, because you get home playoff, or you get to play at home throughout the entire playoffs. So
that's dope.
Let's move on to the other 1-seeded game. Saturday night, 8:15, the 1-seeded Green Bay Packers are taking on the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners are the only team that had an upset win, actually, in a game. They are the 6th seed, and the Cowboys-Niners game was wild. Great, crazy ending. Dak Prescott, takes off with 12 seconds left, no timeouts, tries to get back up to the line in time. They can't. We'll talk more about Dallas after we get through all these games, but huge dub for the Niners.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're probably America's team at this point with how much everybody loves
just
the 49ers.
Their fandom in general.
It's crazy.
Even at AT&T Stadium, I mean, there's just red throughout everywhere. The whole crowd. Obviously, the week before we saw when they played the Rams in LA, that whole stadium is Niners fans. I mean, it's just like their fandom is wild.
And them playing the Packers, one of the most hateable teams and one of the most loved teams.
And these two fan bases going at it.
Awesome.
It's going to be crazy.
This game is probably America's game of the week. If I had to pick one,
I would probably go with Kansas City Buffalo rematch. That game's pretty nuts.
And you could even probably argue Rams.
You could say Tampa,
Bucks.
yeah. Like I mean, this slate of games that we have, and that's the thing. Like
Tennessee,
Cincy's the worst game.
Awesome.
What? Like that's going to be a great game.
Yeah, this weekend is going to be crazy. These slate of games
are super exciting. I'm excited for.
I'm pumped.
We have the coach Matt LaFleur and Kyle Shanahan used to coach together with the Washington Redskins back in I saw that picture of them all together. So
Sean McVay, right?
And McVay was there. And they LaFleur said that they were planning to play the Niners all week before they even had beat the Cowboys out of respect for the Niners, which is just like, okay, yeah, it's out of respect for the Niners, but it's also like a huge diss to the Cowboys. We knew the Cowboys weren't going to win.
They have that.
They have a long playoff streak, too, of not winning. So let's talk about who's going to win this game, though. I'm super pumped because, obviously, Deebo Samuel might be the most difficult guy to try and stop right now in football. So Green Bay, obviously they've had an extra week to game plan for this, but who you got?
I'm going with Green Bay in this game. Sadly, I just don't see them losing to the 49ers. Not that the 49ers can't put up a fight, because like you said, Deebo Samuel is literally one of the toughest players to game plan in the NFL for. He'll catch the ball. He'll run it as well as any running back in the league. Yeah. His yards after, if he catches it, you're freaking out. You're panicking because you don't know what he's going to do.
Ball.
Like, he literally, you have to keep it away from his hands. And then you have a little guy named George Kittle who just makes big-time plays.
And they've that one receiver, Jawan Jennings, they've been going to him a lot. He's pretty solid, too.
Ayuk's been decent lately. Ayuk stepped it up. And
he's always been a great route runner,
playing really solid all of a sudden. So this team is very scary. Imagine if they have Raheem Mostert. This team, you're probably...
Mitchell's been good, though.
But Deebo isn't quite as electric at that point. But it's still, I mean, you just have an extra great player.
Exactly,
I'm pumped for this game. I got the Packers. Who do you got?
This is going to be tough because I don't know if San Francisco is going to be able to consistently stop Green Bay's offense. Green Bay's offense is so good. It's so difficult to stop. The Niners don't really have the greatest secondary, so stopping Devontae Adams is going to be really difficult. I am going to pick the San Francisco 49ers just because it's the playoffs. Weekly picks don't matter, so I'm not going to pick Green Bay. But San Francisco is going to need big plays because if Green Bay can limit San Fran's big plays, I think Green Bay wins probably pretty handedly. But San Francisco's got to get some big plays going, and they need turnovers, which is something that Green Bay doesn't do very often. It's going to be difficult, but I'm going with the Niners.
I really hope the 49ers don't come out here and try and beat them like a normal football team and try to beat the Packers. I'd like to see some trickery, pull some stuff out of your bag. You're not supposed to win this football game by any means.
You already had an upset last week.
I would love to see you go into your bag and just kind of try and confuse and bombard Green Bay with a whole new look. I mean, just do tons of different things and just really...
Hell, bring out Trey Lance randomly.
Do it. Go for it. If you want to run the football.
Pull a Jim Harbaugh, switch quarterbacks halfway through the game.
Don't do that. Don't get used to it.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm going to go with the Niners here, but this is going to be a great game. Sunday at 3 o'clock. What a big-time game this is going to be with the two-seeded Tom Brady-led Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on Matt Stafford and the LA Rams in Tampa Bay. Let's talk about the Rams getting the dub last week, though. What an excellent game this was because the Rams kind of just dominated this game.
Oh my God, Kyler shit the bed.
As much as I want to say like Stafford had this crazy game, led him to victory. He really, I mean, he didn't have a bad game. Like he had a good game, but he wasn't the reason they won. If Jared Goff was at QB, they probably still win.
Yeah.
Just because of how great the Rams defense was, and mainly because of, like you said, how bad Kyler Murray played.
Kyler was literally awful. He looked so confused. He looked so sped up, so rushed all the time. And a part of it was the Cardinals' line, but it's really tough to blame the Cardinals' line when you're blocking Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey on the edge, and then, oh, shit, there's Von Miller.
Von Miller had a really good game, too,
Yeah, like that's one of the best sackers ever.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so tough to play against that defense.
But, like, you played against his team 2 times this year, too, so it's like, you know the formula. You've beat him, too, so you know what it takes. Kyler Murray just didn't step up. I think he might be getting a little too much hate. It's really easy to hate on a guy when he's playing bad, especially in the playoffs in a big moment like that. But it is his first career playoff game, and he really, really did not show up. So
no, absolutely not.
Hopefully he can bounce back next year. But the Rams just dominated this game, 100%. And I love to see it because they're the team I'm rooting for in this playoffs. I mean, I want to see Matthew Stafford do good. The Lions fans on Twitter saying, "Go Cardinals," are you guys
crazy.
You guys are stupid.
You were never a fan.
Yeah.
Like, you're just not. If you don't like Matt Stafford,
I
you're
don't
not
care
a fan.
about getting 9 picks higher. I saw the tweet that said, why do you want, or like, there's no benefit to being 8 picks higher, and it was us taking Gerard Davis at 21 in the draft in like 2017 and TJ Watt going at pick 30. So I don't think it's that big of a deal in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tampa Bay, they pretty much manhandled the Eagles. The Eagles made a somewhat of a comeback late in the game, but it was garbage time. Bucks looked really, really good.
Yeah,
so.
Eagles didn't belong in the playoffs. I mean, they're not a playoff football team.
Yeah, shout out to them for making it. They've actually made the playoffs like a lot in the last decade. And shout out Jalen Hurts for getting them there. But they weren't going to win this game.
Yeah, absolutely not. Not against TV.
Yeah.
You just won't.
So let's talk about who's going to win this game, because obviously we have Matthew Stafford, who has never been to this point in the playoffs, the second round, and we have Tom Brady, who is very familiar with this round, winning in this round as well. So who you got?
I'm taking the Rams. I can't. This is my first time in my life. Well, like second, actually. Second, they only played once this year, Tom Brady and Matt Stafford. They played against each other just once.
Did they play this year?
Yeah, just once. I think it was a Sunday night game. But this is the second time in my whole life I've rooted against Tom Brady, and I'm rooting for Matt Stafford.
So you've just never rooted against them when they played the Lions?
I mean, I guess, yeah, I know you're right. You're right. But
I get what you're saying, though.
I'm rooting for Matt in the playoffs. Let's go to the playoffs. So I'm rooting for Matt Stafford all the way, and I'm so pumped to watch it. Like, this game is just, I cannot wait. I'm waiting for Sunday.
Yeah.
Because when I watch it, I'm going to be so happy.
I know. It's going to be awesome. I'm going with the Rams as well. Obviously, I picked them to win the Super Bowl, so I would like that prediction to happen. Did we both pick the Rams to win the Super Bowl like at the very beginning of the year?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
I think we did.
I think I did, but I might have had Bucks going
Did
back.
I pick TB?
In like the playoffs one or this one?
I think I picked Tampa
like
Bay.
last week. Yeah, you picked the Bucks to win.
But I just want the Rams to win so bad.
Yeah, the prediction, whatever. Yeah, I'm going with the Rams though for sure. Matthew Stafford, gotta root for him. I'm so hyped for this game. But the thing is, I want the winner of this game to make it to the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't know. The Niners making it would be pretty sick, but I picked the Niners to win. But how fitting would it be? I've mentioned this so many times. If Green Bay beats the Niners, all right, that's cool with me.
You got to play Stafford.
You got to play Stafford or Brady. Like
I want Stafford.
I obviously want Stafford, but if the Bucks win back-to-back years, the Bucks beat Brady in the NFC Championship game. Or beat Rodgers, I mean.
That is nothing to me. Dude, watching Stafford beat Rodgers in the NFC Championship.
And then Stafford would have as many Super Bowl appearances as Aaron Rodgers.
Holy moly, dude. And the post game would just be nuts. Like if we're watching that game, you and I are watching Stafford beat Rodgers.
Rodgers is gone if they lose in the NFC Championship.
He might walk off the field like AB did. Like run off the field, middle fingers up in the air.
To his own fans.
Like just gone.
It's going to be so, especially because they would be in Lambeau. Stafford and them would be in Lambeau. Oh, my gosh.
Like, he's played there.
If they
he's
lose
played there
to him,
so many times, too.
So many times.
Like, he knows what to do when he gets there.
It's going to be so fun. I really hope the Rams can win. Moving on to the final game, Sunday at 6:30. I do think this is probably the biggest game of the week, but they're all so big.
So big.
2-seeded Kansas City Chiefs taking on the 3-seeded Buffalo Bills. A rematch. Quick, going over their last games from last week. Both teams dominated. Chiefs, they got off to a slow start. TJ Watt getting this touchdown for the Steelers. But after that, the Chiefs kind of took over. The Steelers didn't have an answer. Shout out to Big Ben for a great career. As much jokes we make about him, shout out to him. And then Buffalo against New England. Just pure dominance. Josh Allen had more touchdowns than he had incompletions. The Bills scored a touchdown on every single drive. They did
Except
not
for the kneel.
Yeah. But they did not punt. And Josh Allen, he went 7 for 7 on drives, and they scored touchdowns on all of them.
I think they had 4 third downs the whole game. They were averaging 10 yards a first down.
Against a great defense, and also in the horrible weather that they were playing in Buffalo.
Good luck for Kansas City. It's you're catching the team the hottest they've been.
This is a rematch. Bills, Chiefs from last year. Obviously, if you remember the clip from last year of Stephon Diggs standing out on the field as the Chiefs celebrated going to the Super Bowl, just looking, and it was kind of like a meme, but at the same time, it was like he's going to be back. He wants this. And now it's here. It's not in the AFC Championship game this year, but a lot of people are saying the winner of this game is probably going to go to the Super Bowl. Who we got in this game? This is going to be a showdown.
I'm going with the team that's won it before. Usually when you beat a team, you can kind of hold it over their head, and then when you beat a team, you want to keep them below you. So I'm going with the Chiefs. If you're the Chiefs, you want to keep Buffalo under you and let them know that you're not as good as us still. We're having a worse year than we were having past year.
Right.
And we're still going to come out and beat you. You can't beat us. I hope that's the mantra they come out with. And I think the Chiefs will beat Buffalo. I think Tyreek and Travis are just going to bring it. And then Patrick Mahomes is going to be so fired up for this football game.
I think both of these teams are going to be so fired up for this game. But I'm going to go with the Bills, man. Bills Mafia was wild last week. Ryan Fitzpatrick, no shirt up in the stands. I mean, their fan. We're talking about the Niners fans and the Packers fans.
And then
the Bills fans
Mafia
are probably the best fans
easily.
in the whole NFL.
Easily.
Them or Raiders fans probably. But the Bills probably have the most craziest fans.
Yeah, and it's what they do outside of outside of games.
Exactly,
they jump through tables, and their donations are
they're just
the
crazy.
coolest thing ever.
Yeah, exactly.
Those charity donations, and they'll make it a meme. Oh, this cornerback let up the game-winning touchdown. Let's go donate to his charity. It's however many yards the touchdown was.
Yeah, exactly. So Kansas City, Buffalo, I'm going with the Bills. I think they are going to be so motivated to win this game after losing last year. They're pretty much bringing back the same team as they had last year. Going with the Bills here. So that's pretty much it for the divisional round picks. It's going to be a great weekend of football. I'm super excited. Let's talk about the teams that lost, though. What's next for each of these teams? I kind of wrote them down in really random order, so we're going in this random order. Dallas Cowboys. What is next for the Dallas Cowboys? They had not an embarrassing way to lose that game, but they were the only team that got upset in the wild card round. And they lost in a tough way. They lost in a way that was really questionable, and Mike McCarthy's got a lot of people coming at his head. Dak Prescott said something about how he loved that the fans were blaming the game on the refs or something, and then he later apologized about it. But Dallas Cowboys, what's next for them?
I don't know how much is next for them other than pure game planning. In a playoff game, you can't have your best wide receiver get like 0 catches. I mean, CeeDee Lamb ended the game with like 1 catch for 10 yards, and there was like 5 wide receivers who had caught a pass before he did. And that's just wrong.
Yeah.
That you just can't have that. I mean, I get if 2 wide receivers have a catch before he does, but 5 wide receivers, you're going to the bench and they're getting catches before CeeDee Lamb. That's just so wrong. You have the best, a great wide receiver, and you don't get him the football, you're setting yourself up for failure. I would say get a new OC, and you might be able to move on from Zeke. I don't know what that looks like, whether you trade him or whatever, because Tony Pollard was so good this year when Zeke was absent or Zeke was throwing tantrums or whatever. I really think this Dallas Cowboys team can just run it back, especially with the young DB and Trayvon Diggs, who hopefully gets better, and then Micah Parsons, who Depoy argument, definitely Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, for sure. The Cowboys, they have some tough decisions to make because both of their coordinators are probably going to be gone. Dan Quinn, their defensive coordinator, is getting a lot of head coaching buzz. Same with Kellen Moore, their offensive coordinator. So both of those guys are probably going to get other coaching jobs. A lot of people are saying Mike McCarthy needs to be fired. I don't think so because the Cowboys were a really good team this year, a really good offense, and their defense was really good at forcing turnovers. Like they were a great team that just fumbled in the playoffs like the Cowboys have recently in years. So I think, like you said, you kind of run it back, but this team is really capped. Like this team was built to win it this year. Amari Cooper is making a lot of money. Both their defensive lineman, DeMarcus Lawrence, he's making a lot of money. Eventually, you're going to have to pay your younger guys and CeeDee Lamb, and if you do want to keep Tony Pollard as the main guy, you're going to have to pay him. Micah Parsons obviously you have a little bit of time before you're going to have to pay him, but it is interesting what they're going to do as far as their money situation goes. Like you said, do you want to get rid of Zeke? Do you want to get rid of Amari Cooper? They are going to have some tough decisions to make. We'll see what happens, I guess. But they should be able to come back next year and win the NFC East again. I mean, there's no reason why they shouldn't.
And they should continue to win. I mean, they've got a lot of young guys who you just got to pick and choose who you want to pay.
Yeah.
And you still win.
And you have the best quarterback in the division. When you have the best quarterback in the division, you have a very good chance of winning the division.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next team, the Las Vegas Raiders. This team had a really up and down year. So many bad things happened to this team throughout the year, yet they still found a way to get into the playoffs. Derek Carr had a career year this year, played really good the whole season. The Raiders, I mean, they're in a tough spot because obviously they lost their head coach halfway through the year, not for good reasons, and their interim coach takes them to the playoffs, Rich something, I forget his last name, but I doubt they keep him. I mean, especially for how big of a team the Raiders are. I don't know what's quite next for them.
I hope it's moved back to Oakland. No, I'm playing.
For real, that might be what's next. I'm just trying to think
move anywhere else. Just stay away. Go to I don't know. But this team is actually they're solid. They need some help at wide receiver. You can't win many football games with Hunter Renfrow. I mean, you can't win many playoff games, I don't think, with Hunter Renfrow.
And he was good this year, but they just need another guy.
Yeah, they need another one. Darren Waller had his head in his ass all season. Just injuries, not playing well. I'd like to see him come back and just play a lot better this year.
Disappointing this year for sure.
Had a good year.
Jacobs I think he was kind of getting a little too crapped on at the beginning of the year, saying
he had a great year at the back.
He already is busted. Like he had a really good year this year for sure.
So I think the Raiders and Derek Carr is your franchise QB. You've now solidified he is it. He led this team through all the bullshit, through everything they had to deal with this season, and led you to a playoffs where nobody expected you to be. I think the Raiders are in a great spot.
Yeah.
Just roll with the group you got.
The only problem is
receiver.
They're in one of the tougher divisions in the entire NFL with the Chargers, Chiefs, and the Broncos, who are a solid team. So I think there's a few different directions you could go. I think you do commit to Derek Carr unless a team is like
give us him.
Yo, we'll give you 2 first-round picks for Derek Carr.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you do that. Maybe you say, okay, this team kind of needs to hit the rebuild after the year we just had. Maybe they go full rebuild. I don't think is a bad idea. But at the same time, after you just got a taste of the playoffs after a year that you probably shouldn't have made the playoffs, maybe you build off of that. Yeah, it's tough to tell the fans that, to say, all right, yeah, we made the playoffs when we probably shouldn't have, but we're just going to completely blow it up now.
We'll
make the playoffs again in like 4 years.
Yeah.
It's tough to do that. And so it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I think there could be a lot of QB movement this offseason. Derek Carr talks are going to be interesting, but it probably won't happen. We'll see. But the Raiders, you have a chance to make it again next year, but they have some tough decisions to make.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm rooting for them, too. I'm not a Raiders fan by any means, but like to scrape by and literally work your ass off to get into the playoffs was just really awesome to see.
Yeah.
Because everybody loves grit and grind football, and it was awesome.
And there's the talk that, if Devontae Adams is to split up with Aaron Rodgers, the Raiders would be his most likely destination because of him and the Derek Carr connection, went to college together. So we'll see. I mean, that would be a huge splash for them, obviously. But we'll see.
They'd compete with Buffalo and LA at that point. You're competing then for the division.
Yeah.
If you have Devontae Adams,
probably.
Absolutely.
Next team, the Philadelphia Eagles. There's not much to say about this team. They have a young quarterback that had a really good year. They're a pretty young team in general. Yeah.
Run it back.
Yep. Eagles, you have...
Good job.
You should be the second or first best team in your division next year. I don't see the Giants getting any better unless a huge QB change happens. Washington, the same thing. Like, they probably won't be, but unless they get a QB upgrade, I doubt anything happens. Hopefully Hurts has another really good year next year. Eagles fans definitely overachieved this year.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's okay.
And any team that overachieved and made the playoffs when you weren't supposed to, I think it's a good year for you. Like, the Eagles had a great year this year. I think I picked them to finish last in the NFC East, in the worst division in the NFL. So they definitely succeeded. Next, the New England Patriots. This one's a little weird because I wouldn't say they overachieved, but for a while there, it was like, whoa, this team is legit. And then they kind of had a bad ending to the year. Mac Jones obviously was the best quarterback out of the class this year, which no one would have guessed that, I don't think. And their defense was really good. Their running back by committee strategy was really effective. And they have a good amount to build off of going ahead, too.
Yeah, towards the end of the year, Mac Jones definitely struggled more than he did at the start of the year. It just seemed like he wasn't very comfortable anymore throwing the football. It seemed like he got nervous.
He don't seem like he plays good in the cold, neither.
Which is not good when you're in New England.
He looks uncomfortable when they play in the cold.
And that's just it's just one of those things. He's a young quarterback. Yeah. And I think, honestly, the 3-pass game out of him might have hindered his thought process a lot, where it's maybe they don't even need me to win football games. But obviously there's a lot of outside. Right. He's hearing a bunch from the coach, so that might not be a factor at all. But he didn't play well at the end of the season. Definitely didn't perform as well as he did earlier in the year. But again, best quarterback in the best quarterback in the class, and I am
out of a class that had the first 3 picks were all QBs, and Justin Fields went 10 too. Yeah, so it's shout out to Mac Jones for having arguably a offensive rookie of the year type season. He probably won't win it. He probably shouldn't win it, but he definitely is a candidate because he took his team to the playoffs.
And we know what the Patriots should do. Run it back.
Run it back. There's obviously the patriots are always one of the main teams that's in big trade rumors. I already saw, there's just so much McCaffrey talks. Imagine McCaffrey with the Pats. Be ridiculous. But they're always in a bunch of trade rumors. Even I saw an Aaron Rodgers, Mac Jones going to Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers coming to New England. They're just always going to be a team that's in that mix. So we'll see if they get involved.
Just they're so hyper aggressive. When you have a coach like Belichick, you try to win every year. Just give him the best team. There's a chance.
Is Belichick going to be back next year?
I really hope so. I don't want him to retire.
He'll probably, especially off of a year where they did pretty well. They were a good team this year.
I just got to see Mac Jones versus Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. That would have been so. That would have been the best story possible.
Remember, at some point in the year, the favorite Super Bowl was Bucks Pats.
That's wild. That was even a thought. Yeah. At some point this season,
Belichick versus Brady.
Overachieving Pats. If you're a New England fan, man, you are fortunate. You get to watch good football every year.
Yeah, exactly.
But you are fortunate.
Next is the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers definitely were not supposed to make the playoffs. At least with 4 or 5 weeks left in the year, it wasn't looking good for them. They even really didn't end the year well. They didn't really end the year well. And they won their last 2 games of the year, so I guess you could say they ended the year well. But their division was just so tight. They're one of the best in the league. The Ravens having so many injury problems probably benefited them a good amount, and Baker Mayfield just being pretty bad. But the Steelers, obviously, they are going to be looking for a new quarterback this offseason. Whether or not that is already an in-house QB with Mason Rudolph or Dwayne Haskins, I think Dwayne Haskins is a guy that they would like to build around. But there's also mocks that have them drafting a quarterback, and pretty much every single mock I've seen so far has them taking one round 1. You also could go for the route of trying to trade for one with Aaron Rodgers or
Derek Carr.
Yeah, just an example. So we'll see what happens with the Steelers, but they're an interesting one because they're the only team on this list that 100% is going to have a new quarterback next year.
Yeah, and they're definitely they're beyond ready to rebuild. They've been beyond ready to rebuild for like 3 years. They probably needed to rebuild since Le'Veon and AB has been gone.
But I mean, they not really though. I mean, like they can compete every year. They're another one
and
of those
they do.
teams that can. Yeah,
like Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season, so like I get that. But like at some point, you got to take a step back to win the Super Bowl. You can't just keep being mediocre. Right. But I would love to see the Steelers run it back with Mason Rudolph. I just want to see what he can do for a whole year. Did you hear me calling him last night when I was making fun of Willie? I was calling him Mason Crosby the whole time. Just like couldn't get Mason Rudolph in my head. He was like Mason Crosby, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, he might switch from kicking to playing quarterback.
He might have to if he goes to the Steelers.
The Steelers, yeah. Who else are they gonna have?
Damn.
We'll see what happens with the Steelers. We'll see who's starting at quarterback for them week 1. And lastly is the Arizona Cardinals. This team, out of these 6 teams, is probably the most disappointing as far as how their season ended. This team was the number 1 team in the NFL for a very long time. They were the only undefeated team for a while. And then once they lost to the Lions, this team was officially broke. The Lions broke the Cardinals. I mean, like, they're our sons. And we ruined their season. I mean, their season crumbled after the Lions beat them.
And that's actually, as much as that's like, ha funny. That
is
a
funny
true
to say,
statement.
but I mean, after that Lions loss, everything went downhill for the Cardinals.
And that's a tough thing to do, is lose a huge game against not a huge game, a meaningless game against a shitter.
Yeah.
Like, the Lions sucked.
1-win team.
Like,
worst team in the NFL.
You were the best. And
we beat them.
Blew them out.
We didn't just like come back and win. We beat them from the first snap to the last.
So I don't know what to do if you're the Cardinals, because you're so set up. I think you just run it back and hope you win it again next year, or you are really good again next year. But Kyler Murray in his first 2 years or 3 years, I guess, his last 2 seasons, has really struggled once he hits like middle of the season.
Yeah, the end of the year has really been a struggle for this team the past couple years.
I mean, 2 seasons ago, they were like 7-0 to start off the year. One of the best teams in football. Obviously, the Steelers were also undefeated, so they weren't like the number 1 team.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, they just...
And they didn't even make the playoffs last year. Like, it was a really bad collapse. Whereas, like, in general terms, this team did not have a bad year. Like, you were one of the better teams in the NFL, in one of the best conferences in the NFL. You were the number 1 wild card team. Like,
dominated for like 11 weeks.
Had a really good year. Like, you kind of revived. If you got AJ Green had a good year, James Conner had a career year, JJ Watt played good when he played. Buda Baker, by the way, thoughts go out to him. Hopefully, I know he recovered well from his surgery.
He's already out the hospital.
Yeah, but just a really tough play happened in that game. So hopefully he can come back week 1 next year and be good to go. But the Cardinals, like you said, I think you have no other choice other than to run it back. But expectations are going to be high for this team next year after how their season ended. So a lot of pressure's on for this team to improve this offseason.
You can't run it back and be decent. Don't do that again, because you will start.
Can't run it back and lose in the wild card again.
Yeah. People will start to question everything. Kyler Murray will come to question if he struggles again like he has these first 2 years.
Exactly. So we're going to talk more about these games and the losers of this week's rounds. Next week, we'll see who wins. But let's move on to some NBA talk. 2 nights ago, the Detroit Pistons made an epic comeback win in Sacramento against the Sacramento Kings. And about 5 hours after that loss, I saw 2 or 3 Kings rumors about them selling guys. We're trading Rashawn Holmes. He's up for trade.
HB is gone.
Fox, Harrison Barnes. So I think the Pistons broke the Kings, just like the Lions broke the Cardinals.
Well, it's not as impressive to break the Kings. They were pretty much broken before we got there, but we just like straw that broke the camel's back.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But let's talk. Well, yeah, because they not only did they lose to us, but they were on a back-to-back loss to Houston the night before at home too. So like
bad looks
for the Kings. But let's talk about the Pistons. Obviously, Jeremy Grant talks are getting even hotter than they were the last time we talked, mainly because of the injury to Miles Turner. I think Jeremy Grant and Miles Turner were kind of the 2 most hot commodities for the trade deadline on the market right now. Miles Turner is injured, and they say he won't return until after the trade deadline. So there's probably a chance he doesn't get traded, or he either... I mean, if I was the Pacers, at this point, it's like, all right, we'll probably just sit him the rest of the year. We'll trade him in the offseason because you don't want to undervalue him just because he's hurt. And if I'm a team that could use Miles Turner, I'm not overpaying for a guy that is hurt. And we don't know when he could be 100% again. So I think that there's a good chance he doesn't get traded. So let's talk about Jeremy Grant trades for a little bit. Obviously, this is a thing that we have talked about a lot on this show the last couple of weeks, but it just keeps getting more and more things going on. Reportedly, the Pistons offered the Sixers Jeremy Grant, Kelly Olynyk, who, by the way, had a baller of a game in his first game back with the Pistons. I am so happy he is back.
His step back is nuts.
I know.
He's got a nice
He played really
back.
well the other night.
Yeah, he looked comfortable.
But Jeremy Olynyk, Sadiq Bey, and a first-round pick for Ben Simmons. And it didn't say that we, literally offered them that, but it was just, the idea was something like that. And the Sixers were not interested in that. They didn't think they didn't like that trade. So I really hope that isn't true. If they ever traded Sadiq Bey, especially this season, I would be really, really upset. But I don't think that. There's no way that's true. That's got to be Daryl Morey or a Sixers reporter that is kind of in with the Sixers, let's put out this fake rumor to try and that boosts Simmons' trade value, or at least it lets other teams know, that's not enough.
Yeah, we got to go.
We got to give more, or that is that's not enough. All right, we're not gonna.
Yeah,
trade
nobody.
for him.
You can have this guy. You're paying $30 million a year. He can sit. We'll let you guys just struggle until you just give him away for a second-round pick.
Exactly. So that really did not make a lot of sense. There was talks about the Washington Wizards potentially looking to trade for Jeremy Grant. The Los Angeles Lakers continue to be interested. But Jeremy Grant recently came out and said that he still wants a big role wherever he goes. He's not going to go to a team and be a role player like he was in Denver a few years ago before coming to Detroit. He still wants to be a main part of the offense. Not that he has to be the guy like he is right now in Detroit, but he just has to be a main focal point of the offense. And he said wherever he gets traded, he wants to sign an extension in the ballpark of a 4-year, $112 million extension, which is a very large extension. So I kind of hope we do trade him because as much as I love Jeremy Grant, I don't think we should pay him that much money.
Not at this point.
Especially with the role he has carved himself into with the Pistons where he is the guy. And it's okay, that kind of really hurts our flexibility to add guys to this team. So that's an interesting thing because does a team want to pay him that extension? You don't have to, obviously, but he's going to be looking for that once he is on the market as a free agent in a year and a half. So I don't know. The Pistons also came out and said that the market for Jeremy Grant, we want 2 first-round picks or 1 first-round pick and a high upside young player, which I love that they came out and said that because a lot of the recent mock trades for Jeremy Grant were bad, and they really didn't make a lot of sense. Whereas this makes sense. This team needs draft capital and or a pick and a younger player. I was saying I feel like I would rather have the 2 first than a guy and a first.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. I'd much rather have 2 first.
Yeah,
unless that guy is Desmond Bane, but obviously we're not getting him.
Exactly. A high upside young player. I don't know how much of a high upside guy we're going to be able to get for Jeremy Grant.
THT's got an upside. It's not a high one.
Yeah, exactly.
But Bull.
I don't want that 27 first and THT, So we're going to see. I mean,
he might not even get moved. He could. Yeah. There might not be an offer.
And that's enough. We talked about the potential of us trying to get a restricted free agent this offseason. There was the whole DeAndre Ayton thing. Maybe we'll do an Ayton sign and trade, a Miles Bridges type sign and trade. But Weaver did come out and say that our focal point this offseason is to go after a younger restricted free agent that their current team doesn't want to give them that much money. So
and don't forget, D-Book wants to be in Detroit too.
Yeah,
somehow he wants to
be on the Pistons. Detroit is his city.
It's his city. He grew up in GR, baby.
But it's his city though. Yeah, and he balled out against us.
And he belongs in Little Caesars Arena for the rest of his career. And
Cade getting ejected for pointing at the bench is so ridiculous, man. I don't think we've talked since that happened. So
the refs didn't even see it. That's the one thing. The more I think about it, it's the refs suck. But I'm kind of now to the point where yeah, it sucks and it was unfortunate, but it would have been really hard if I'm a ref seeing that from a different angle. There are multiple angles of that where it looks like he's pointing at Jalen Smith.
It does look like he is, but that technical ejects him from the game.
That's the second tech.
And he's having a career game. He is most likely going to score his career high in points. And it was a good game. And at that point too, okay, we eject Cade from this game. I mean, it wasn't a good game, but the Pistons were hanging around. Whereas as soon as you eject Cade Cunningham from this game, the game's over. The Pistons have no chance of making a legit comeback. So it's like, if you're the NBA, that's what you don't want. That ruins the entertainment value of that game for people watching. I didn't watch the rest of that game. I watched a little bit of it. I watched the rest of the third quarter. But after that, it was a 25-point game. Like what? And Cade's not in the game. Sadiq isn't playing well.
Insight to me being a coach. The other day, I've got a kid with 4 fouls and 5, and he fouls out.
Yeah.
And I called the ref over, and I was like, hey, don't call any more fouls on him, or else I can't. Like, we would have had 4 players, blah, blah, blah. We wouldn't have had enough players to play.
Oh, you didn't have an extra guy on your bench?
No, so I said to the ref, I said, don't call any more on him. And he goes, what number? And I gave him the number, and he's like, okay, I won't. Like, the rest of the game, he didn't call a foul.
That's hilarious, yeah. A little different in the NBA, but a good comparison.
Just don't call it. Like, if you're a ref, you got to know that.
Exactly.
You have to know that's a second one.
And Cade Cunningham is not a tauntful player.
Yeah, he's not a dick.
Since he's been in the NBA, he does not talk shit. He does not taunt. Like, he is not that guy at all. Like, the Pistons only have one guy that is like that, and it is Josh Jackson. The rest of the guy, I mean, Hami will talk a little shit, but, like, Corey Joe will talk funny shit. Like, he'll be, like, laughing around, like, but...
That video of Jordan Poole coming up to Gary Payton. That video was hilarious,
that was
dude.
funny.
Jordan, they were, like, Fortnite emoting on him. They were scratching their head.
The refs lately, though, have just been... I mean, it's just
the last 2 years.
Just a tech... I mean, even just in the last 2 weeks.
Quit being soft.
There's so many technicals. They ejected Anthony Edwards from the game.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know somebody else.
And that was...
but Jimmy got ejected early.
Yeah, Jimmy got ejected.
Like first quarter ejection.
Dudes are getting ejected. Yeah, that was ridiculous. And it's not like he got ejected because it was his second tee. It was...
technical.
A foul gets called on him. He's pissed about it. The ref tees him up for bitching about it. Jimmy turns around and is still talking. And the other ref, it's not even the same ref. The other ref looks at him, tees him up, and tosses him. Like,
you guys don't have that much power.
Like, is Adam Silver okay with this?
Yeah.
Like, does he realize how much that hurts the game?
It just, like, nobody wants to watch
Who's
Miami
going to watch
Heat.
the rest of that game?
Yeah.
Like, especially, like I said, if it's not a close game, he aren't winning if Jimmy sits. Like,
imagine being at the game. Oh, my God,
pisses off
dude.
the fans, too. It's just like, I understand... As a ref, it can get annoying. These players just complaining about every single thing because it is a thing. Like the players complain about everything, and it would annoy me too, 100%. But I think it's just they're a little tech happy these days, and it's pretty annoying. Like they will call a tech on literally
so quick
on anything, and it's just like, come on, man, are you that hurt by that? Like,
just like
this is your job. Like you signed up to do this,
and most times you can laugh the player off.
Yeah,
like look at him and laugh at him. He'll shut up. Like he will. Like you made him,
or tell him to shut up.
Yeah, hey, quit talking to me. Like they will listen. I know they will. I've seen
the refs
clips
and
of
the players are friends. Like they're not. I mean,
they have to be.
Like CP3 and Scott Foster. They ain't. But like most of the the refs will talk to the players and shoot around and stuff.
Yeah,
like,
in between,
and like even just in like a guy shooting free throws, the refs will talk to guys. They're friendly.
Yeah, like if a player walks up to him and is like, you know, that wasn't a foul. The refs will like joke with him and like tell him exactly.
But certain refs will take that the wrong way and they'll just like get pissed. It's just like, dude. That's not what it's about. You're not you shouldn't be a ref then.
Yeah, they're not trying to do that to like it's just not the way what they're doing. Like,
guys are gonna like as much as I want to sit here and say that the players shouldn't complain to the refs. When I play in a game,
I complain.
A call doesn't go my way. I'm gonna complain. I'm gonna at least say something to the ref. Like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
Like
that.
Exactly. So
I'm gonna say something.
If I'm a professional athlete, like it's gonna be that to an enhanced level.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
We'll see.
Like you said, the pressure.
Yeah,
there's a pressure thing going on.
But let's move on to some other trade talks because I am just itching for a trade in the NBA.
And they
right
won't
now.
happen.
We got a little tease, I guess, with the 3-team trade that we had the other day. Obviously, Bol trade got voided from the Pistons, and then it comes out afterwards
out for like 6
that he's
weeks.
out 8 to 12 weeks, and he has to have some surgery. After we voided the trade too, Michael Malone, the Nuggets coach, said in a press conference that we believe he's healthy. So yeah, it's probably why all your dudes are hurt right now. Like, so
you keep playing them.
Yeah. You believe they're healthy. I bet you believe Jamal Murray and Mike. They say that they're going to come back this year too. So the Nuggets might need to look to get into a new coaching or training staff.
Just somebody who understands a little bit more.
Understands injuries. But Bol does end up getting moved because we didn't know what was going to happen. It seemed like he couldn't go back to Denver the way things ended. And a 3-team trade happens with the Boston Celtics, Denver Nuggets, and Spurs. Yeah, San Antonio Spurs. The Nuggets get Bryn Forbes, probably the highlight of this trade. Denver Nuggets have been one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the Western Conference this year, despite being a good team.
And
so
Jokic had outwardly been complaining about not having shooters.
You have a great playmaker like Jokic, get him some shooters. Bryn Forbes is that. He's a pretty good shooter, and I don't know why he was on the Spurs again, because he had a good playoff run for the Bucks last year. Clearly showed he probably should be on a contending team.
And he was like, no, I'm just going to go back.
Yeah, we'll go back to the team that traded me a year ago.
Izzo and Pop, though. I mean, I wonder if they're a little connected in the way they coach. Maybe coaching styles are a little similar. That's not what I was getting at.
Pop might come coach for State after
That's
Izzo
what I was
leaves.
getting at.
But yeah, the Nuggets get Bryn Forbes. The Boston Celtics get Bol along with PJ Dozier from the Denver Nuggets, and then the Spurs get Juancho Hernan-Gomez. So pretty pointless trade. Like the Nuggets getting Bryn Forbes, solid pickup for them, but the other two teams doesn't. I mean, I
don't really get why they even did it. Why would you want to give away Bryn Forbes?
I would assume maybe I think a second somehow. One team got a second in that too, but I don't remember.
I really think seconds are so invaluable.
They are, but it's just like you get it just to flip it again in another trade. Like, you're probably not actually going to use that second. But I assume for like Boston's sake, you're taking a flyer on Bol once he comes back. And then for the Spurs' sake, maybe you cleared up some money. I really don't know. Like, it could be Celtics maybe got out of the dead cap somehow.
Who's their backup big? Dwayne Dedmon?
On the Celtics?
No, Spurs.
They got.
Why would you want Juancho?
They got Jakob Poeltl and Jacques Landale. They have Thad Young.
I'd probably want Juancho Hernan-Gomez.
Yeah, I mean he's more of like a 3/4 kind of, more of a bigger.
Am I thinking of Willie?
Player, but yeah, you're thinking of Willie.
Yeah,
okay. Willie's the center.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
Yeah, so I guess that's a very simple mistake to make. So, yeah, we'll see though. The Spurs, I mean, they're not a very contending team. So, there was one more thing. Oh yeah, KD got hurt. Sucks that KD got hurt.
Sad.
Because he's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks, and they're saying probably more like 6 to 10, which is just unfortunate because he was an MVP guy. I don't know if he was the front runner, but he was definitely a guy that was in that race. But it does make the MVP race easier. I guess that's the only good thing coming out of this. Speaking of MVP race, who is the best center in the NBA right now? Because I was thinking, Nikola Jokic is having a better year than he did last year, MVP year. Joel Embiid, though, has been absolutely torching. He scores 50 the other night in under 30 minutes. He had 20 points in the first quarter when his whole team only had 2 other points. And then Jokic that same night was like, oh, Embiid just had 50.
Let me put up 39.
Let me put up one less. No, he had 49.
Oh, he had 49?
Let me put up one less point, but also with a triple-double. 49-point triple-double the same night. I mean, like, these two dudes are ridiculous right now, and it's so... I don't think you're wrong saying either guy is better.
No, me either. I mean, Embiid's probably a better defender.
For sure, yeah.
Jokic, a better playmaker. Embiid, probably a better shot creator. Jokic just gets a ton of shots and
gets other guys' shots. And Jokic, I mean...
He's a shot maker.
Embiid's the better paint protector, but Jokic is not a bad defender.
No, not anymore.
I mean, he plays the passing lanes well. Their defense is set up for him to not be a liability, I guess. So,
isn't it crazy that, 6 years ago, the big man was dying? And now 2 of the top 5 players in the league.
I mean, like, these two guys are absolutely balling right now. It's so difficult to figure out who's better between the two, but it's nice having Joel Embiid on my fantasy team.
It's nice having him back and playing so many basketball games. As much as I dislike Embiid sometimes, it's
I'm
just
not
so
the biggest
nice.
Embiid fan either. Like,
so nice when people are healthy and you get to see them at their full potential.
He's just so good. I mean, it is ridiculous how good he is. So, let's talk about our NBA lists for the day. I guess they're not really. I mean, they're not really like crazy
just
lists.
Talking
Trade
points.
deadline's coming up February 10th. What's the date today? Like the 20th, 21st. So pretty close. We're coming up on. Sorry.
No, you're good.
We are coming up on the trade deadline. So, like I said, I'm itching for a trade. So we are doing 3 teams that we want to sell and 3 teams that we want to buy coming up on the trade deadline. So. Which one you want to do first?
Let's do sell first.
Okay.
Let's do teams that we can sell.
3 teams we want to sell. I'll let you go first.
Number 1, the Pacers need to sell. Blow it all up. It's the obvious one. Please, just quit trying to win basketball games. Being mediocre sucks.
Yeah.
I was there with a Pistons fan. Every year in 2K, they were never fun to play with because they just suck.
Yeah, but they were like
mediocre.
They didn't suck, but they were good enough to not suck where sucking helped.
No young talent.
Yeah.
Like there was nothing to be excited about in the
Getting
franchise.
the 8th or 9th pick every year, like just missing the playoffs. That's where Indiana is.
Yeah, blow it up, please. I don't know what it looks like. Just do it. Sell.
Yeah, number one team on my list is the Indiana Pacers as well. Obviously, Miles Turner talks are there, but Karis LeVert, you need to trade him away 100%. He needs to be on a different team. Him to the Cavs has been like the main talk, which would be really nice with all the injuries they're having. Domantas Sabonis, the Wizards are showing interest in Sabonis. Apparently, Bradley Beal has been talking to Sabonis, which I don't know if that's like allowed.
Do they even speak the same language?
I'd assume. I'd assume.
So I think Sabonis is actually.
I think he's born in America.
Yeah, I think he's an American.
Yeah, but yeah, I don't think that the Pacers need to continue to win games, even though apparently in a Miles Turner trade with Charlotte, they want Gordon Hayward, and they said that they want a all-star caliber player to build around if they trade Sabonis, which is just like.
That doesn't work.
Why? Why not just trade Sabonis for like 2 firsts and a young guy?
Rebuild.
Like, he is a valuable asset. You don't need, but like, and there's the talk about Sabonis for De'Aaron Fox type swap, which is like,
it doesn't help
like
anybody.
Like Fox, yeah, you could build around him, but like, you have to make a bunch of moves. You have to completely change everything at that point. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do at the deadline. And it would not surprise me one bit if they don't do anything and they finish in 11th in the Eastern Conference, just missed the playoffs. Like, I want to look to see
they're 13th right
where
now.
they are. Yeah, because I got it right here. Yeah, they're 13th, 17 and 29. Whereas they're probably going to stay actually at 13th. I don't see any team actually getting worse than them, and they're not going to get any worse than us or the Magic.
Yeah.
So we'll see it. But yeah, Pacers for sure are on this list.
Number 2, the other team that we just mentioned, the Sacramento Kings. You need to just get whatever 2 guards you want to build around, which I don't think is Buddy Hield or Davion. I don't think either one of them should be part of it. Davion actually probably can be a backup guard.
Yeah,
but like,
at least for now.
You got to figure out what you're doing with Tyrese, De'Aaron, Harrison Barnes, Rashawn Holmes. You've got a lot of decent players on contract. They're just not good enough. You got to flip them for picks and get better players.
Yeah.
I want them to sell so badly. And I feel so bad for Kings fans. Like, you have just been in hell for so long.
It's tough to tell the Kings fans that we're gonna blow it up again, though.
Yeah. How do you do it? You have De'Aaron Fox.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
screwed it up.
If you're selling, though, like, it's tough to convince the fans to go that route.
You screwed up Boogie and you screwed up Fox. And I mean, they haven't screwed up Fox yet. They haven't traded them yet.
And Fox really hasn't been like crazy good this year either. So, hey, you have Halliburton. You kind of have to choose. We'll see. Number 2 team on my list, the Portland Trailblazers. This team, I think, is pretty obvious. I want them to sell. Right now, they are one of the worst teams in their conference as well. They are sitting at they're actually at the 10th seed, but they are right in the same area as Sacramento, right behind them. San Antonio, New Orleans, all right there behind them. Damian Lillard is going to be out for some time. Anthony Simons has shown that he is going to be a building piece going forward. I think this team getting a top pick would be huge for them. You have pieces to sell, and Robert Covington, who's on an expiring contract, Yusuf Nurkic on an expiring contract. Obviously, CJ and Norm Powell, I would like to see one of them get moved. This team needs to blow it up for sure.
It's just clear. They're my 3rd team. It's just so obvious that the Trailblazers need to blow it up. You've never won with the core you have, and you've just kept trying to rock with it and retool pieces around the core. Dame and CJ will not win you a ring. They won't. They're not good
enough. It's
enough.
At that point where they won't. Dame could with other pieces, but Dame and CJ, as much as a great fun duo they've been the last decade,
they will not win.
They
you
won't.
A chip.
Yeah, it's pretty clear. My last team is another Western Conference team, the San Antonio Spurs, strictly just because there's no point in them being good. I mean, and they have pieces to move. Thad Young doesn't play for this team, and he was pretty good last year with Chicago. Jakob Poeltl has been in trade talks, which I don't really know why, because I think he could be a part of your young rebuild, but he's been in trade talks, so maybe you look to move him to a team that could overpay for him. Derrick Henry, looks like...
Derrick Henry?
I said Derrick Henry because I got the notification on my phone. He just got activated off IR right now. And then Derek White was who I was trying to say. You might as well try and trade him. The Spurs go full rebuild. DeJounte has been a star for you. Rebuild around him. And that's my teams I want to sell. 3 teams we want to buy.
The team that literally has not tried to they tried to buy once. The Dallas Mavericks need to buy. I don't care who you go and get. Go and trade 3 firsts for Jeremy Grant. Do something to show that you want to win basketball games.
And they've been playing well lately.
Yeah, and Luka, in all honesty, hasn't been playing as great as he was in the past seasons.
Exactly.
Because KP stepped it up this year.
And Jalen Brunson has been really good.
Now finish it. Finish the rebuild. Get your next piece. Don't stay in limbo like this.
That's
It's
why
funny.
you say that.
It's funny. I
Go
say
watch
that.
Inception if you never saw it. Movie's nuts.
We had to watch it the other night, and it blew our minds.
And the thing about the Mavericks too, like there's already rumors about Jalen Brunson because he's a free agent this offseason because he was a second-round pick a couple years ago. So he's going to be a guy that is probably going to get overpaid this offseason. He just kind of fits a team that needs a point guard like him. He's had a good year. There's been rumors about the Knicks and the Celtics already showing interest in him. So you kind of have to buy right now because what if you do lose Jalen Brunson?
Then you're screwed.
Yeah.
You're literally screwed. Were they on your list? Were the Mavs?
No, that's a good team. That's a team that I definitely like. I like that for them to buy. They definitely should. I have a different opinion on a team you had on the other list. The Sacramento Kings are my first team that I want to buy,
Really?
not sell. The Kings have been so bad for so long. They haven't made the playoffs they have the longest active playoff streak, not making the playoff streak, I mean, in the NBA. And their fans they deserve a playoff appearance. They deserve for this team to be good. They have assets. You have Fox and Tyrese.
Do
Pick
something.
one.
Do
Pick
something.
one and flip the other. You have Buddy Hield's contract. You got Harrison Barnes' contract.
Go
You
and
got
get
Rashawn
Sabonis.
Holmes' contract. You have all your first-round picks. Trade these assets and attach them for a star. You know, whether it's Domantas Sabonis. You trade Fox for Sabonis, and obviously there's going to be some missing pieces. I know it might be a lateral move for you and kind of for Indiana, but it's a change-up. It's a reason for the fans to show, or you to show the fans that you are trying to. You're trying.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think they are a team that should buy because also right now they're the 11 seed, but I think this team could easily make the play-in. I mean, Portland is at the 10. I don't think Portland's going to be there still.
No.
San Antonio and New Orleans are right outside, but like if Zion don't come back, the Pelicans probably aren't gonna. And the Clippers, they're at the 9 seed. They're going to be without Paul George for a very long time. So how good are they going to be for a while? I think Sacramento has a chance to make the play-in tournament and possibly get into the playoffs. But they need to make some moves, and I think they should buy.
Yeah, and I definitely can see that. And I didn't even think about, just like mixing up De'Aaron Fox for Sabonis, let's say.
Yeah.
That just makes your team, your starting lineup, look so much better. And look very similar to the Indiana Pacers. Just tons of average players.
Exactly, yeah.
Tons of good players.
But I also could see the Kings, like, it wouldn't be a bad, I think it's a good idea for the Kings to sell, but I just don't think you can convince the fans.
Yeah.
I don't think you can say, all right, we're going to blow it up again.
Yeah,
because
we're done.
We've done, us trying to make the playoffs didn't work. We literally couldn't even make the playoffs 1 year. So let's blow it up again. Like, I think you have to at least make it once before you say, all right, now we're going to blow it up.
No, you're right. Absolutely.
Second team.
The 76ers, come on. You've got Joel Embiid playing at an MVP level, playing every game this season, not missing much time. This dude has been unbelievable, and you refuse to trade Ben Simmons, who does not play for your team. Do something to help out. Like, if I'm Joel Embiid, I'm going to Daryl Morey, and I'm pissed off at him. Dude, get me some help.
Yeah.
Do something.
Daryl Morey he's like really active like on Twitter and he goes on a lot of like radio networks and talks. So a lot of information will come out from him. He did say like a day ago that with the recent play of Joel Embiid, the asking price on Ben Simmons may go down because of how well Embiid has been playing. It's like, yeah,
Thank
no
God.
shit. Like this should have been your thought process in the offseason. Like he was this good last year too.
If Joel Embiid is playing,
are you just realizing how good he is? Like
Joel Embiid is playing basketball, surround him with talent. You don't know how long you have.
Yeah, exactly. Especially with how injury prone he has been. Like he is really, really good at basketball.
You don't.
Maybe you should like try to win a championship while you can.
Yeah.
I know he's stubborn about James Harden coming to Philly. The Sixers are also on my list. It's super obvious. Like they need to buy. Like I said though, they're really stubborn about clearing up cap space for James Harden. So like if they do trade Simmons, they also want to trade Tobias Harris. Sure, do that. Go ahead, do it. Do something.
Please, please. I just want to see what happens.
I don't know if that would be considered buying, but this isn't even like I don't want the Sixers to buy. I just want them to do something. That isn't
Make a move.
That isn't cutting Aaron Henry because they did that like a week ago.
What?
Yeah, I know.
He belonged out of the league, bro. I'm a firm believer.
The Pistons should sign him, bro.
Oh, he fits, bro.
I know.
He's the grit. We have enough forwards who play just like him.
We have enough 2/3s that can't shoot crazy well. Last team. Who you got?
LA Lakers. This team, I don't even know.
Can they, though?
Yeah, it's just that. I don't know what buying looks
I mean,
like.
you have THT.
I'm sitting here and I was looking at teams who should buy, and like I was like, I don't even really know if any of these teams should buy or if they should just kind of ride it out. The Lakers are a team that needs to buy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They
what
can't
it looks
ride
like.
it out. You're right. They have to make moves. But there was a report that I think Woj said that don't expect the Lakers to be involved in a lot of trades at the deadline because they don't have askable players on their team. I mean, like,
Whole bunch of guys on QFOs.
whole bunch of guys making $1.5 million and then THT. And then Kendrick Nunn's making $5 million. Like, what's that going to get you? And you have no draft capital.
No assets.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, but you're right. They do need to try to buy because this team can't ride it out. I think it was difficult finding another team because if you're a team that wants to buy, you're either a team that's like kind of around the playoffs that maybe could get in, or you're a team that's in the playoffs that are trying to make that leap to championship. And there's a lot of teams that are kind of there, like the Minnesota Timberwolves. I thought about them, but I think they should just ride it out. Like they're probably going to make the playoffs for the first time in a while. They're having a good year. Probably just ride it out. The Cavs are the same team that you should probably just ride it out. But the last team I put on there was the Toronto Raptors. I think the Raptors, they've been really hot lately. I think this team could go on a run. They're just a really well defensive-minded team. They have a lot of big wing players. This team needs a center, though. You have Goran Dragic's $18 million contract that he just hasn't played a single game this year. Maybe you want to try and move that. You got Chris Boucher, who really hasn't been playing that much this year. You could look to move him.
Or very well when he does play.
Yeah. Fred VanVleet is having a career year. Scotty Barnes has been really good. Gary Trent is currently hurt, but OG, there's been talks about him getting traded, which I don't know why you would want to do that. I would love to get OG on our team. But yeah, the Raptors, I think they're a team that could make some noise in the playoffs, and your best player, Fred VanVleet, and I didn't even mention Pascal Siakam. He's been really good lately too. So your best player is having the best year of his career. Maybe you try and do something.
Maybe.
Yeah. You don't have to, though. Like that was just a team I put on there. You could ride it out, but I don't think this team needs another young top pick though. At the same time,
player.
Like you got Scotty Barnes, he's going to be your young asset. OG is still young.
Pascal's still young.
Pascal's pretty young. Even Freddie's he's not old.
Yeah.
So
Dragic's your only old guy.
Yeah, exactly. Last thing, Frank Vogel, talk about him getting traded, about him getting fired. They're putting all the blame on him for Westbrook being bad,
and they're going to toss Tobey Maguire as the new head coach. I heard.
And Penny Hardaway got pissed off in the post game.
Quit being soft, Penny. Come on, Penny.
Get over it. A lot of teams start 4 freshmen. All right, that'll be it. Watch some football this weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Peace.
Bye.